The stars of tomorrow return to the spotlight for the second race of the day as Circuito do Estoril hosts another chapter of the Junior 2025 World Championship. Just west of Lisbon, the storied circuit has a staple of European motorsport where generations of rising talent have announced themselves on the world stage. Stretching 4.1 kilometres with 13 demanding corners and a long straight that invites bold overtakes, Estoril is both fast and unforgiving. Over 15 laps in the European Talent Cup, the margin for error will be razor thin, and every rider knows this is a crucial early chance to make their mark. This is the second race of the day. Carlos Cano launched from pole position in race 1, but things did not go his way. Mixed conditions greeted the European Talent Cup in the opening race of the day. Carlos Cano launching from pole, the number 1, but Fernando Bujosa met an early charge and improved. Bujosa mastered the mixed conditions in Estoril. The number 9 of Antoine Nativi and Julius Frelsen crashing out on the opening lap. Bujosa got his nose ahead of Cano, and in the background you see another crasher. David da Costa that time. So back out front it was Bujosa who took the early initiative and cleared off into the distance. Travis Borg started on the front row but found himself in a battle with Kiandra Ramadipa just outside the podium places, while Alex Longarella hunted down the pole sitter Carlos Cano. Longarella made a move inside turn 6 to take the advantage, but only temporarily, as Cano fought back, and the duo were at this time the fastest riders on circuit and began to reel in Bujosa's lead, but then disaster struck for the reigning European Talent Cup champion as he went through the gravel, handing the victory towards Bujosa, with Alex Longarella taking P2, and this battle between Ramadipa and Borg turning into a battle for the podium. MLAV rider Borg had the initiative before Ramadipa fought back. Borg, the 92, once again fought back to sit in P3, and it looked like he had wrapped up a maiden podium in the class as Bujosa and Longarella crossed the line, but at the final corner disaster struck for Travis Borg as he near high-sided out at the final corner, as did Ramadipa, but the number 32 got back on his bike quicker to cross the finish line in third position for a first ever podium, while Fernando Bujosa celebrated a maiden win in the European Talent Cup. A very big welcome back then to race 2 of the European Talent Cup here in Estoril. If you joined us this morning, you would have noticed the track was wet. The clouds, as my co-host Conor Doherty would say, were menacing, but as the afternoon has come with some sunshine, things look a little bit brighter here in the north of Portugal. I am Chris Jordan, bringing you coverage of today's race. Conor Doherty alongside me, meteorologist sometimes, full-time MotoGP commentator. But Conor, I'm delighted to say it's still windy out there, but very, very dry by the looks of things.
Well, you took the words from my mouth, Chris. Thank you. It does look incredibly windy out there, but that wind has been the same more or less over the course of this weekend. Now, the conditions are different, and as we saw there in those race 1 highlights, it was the first race of the day, and in the morning, maybe about 8 o'clock, I am a meteorologist, clearly, aren't I? It was raining really quite heavily, and that was the race that probably was most affected by those conditions. I mean, we saw the spray from the bikes, and the riders had a lot of trouble really getting to grips with it. So this time around it's going to be an entirely different affair indeed, I do believe, but it's going to be just as exciting as ever in the European Talent Cup. This time around, Carlos Cano is going to be desperate, but beyond desperate to make sure that he capitalizes on this pole position.
Yeah, don't give up the day job, mate. Leave the meteorology to the professionals. But yeah, Carlos Cano, what a brilliant talent this rider is. He's starting at pole position as he nearly bumps into a bystander on the grid. But wow, the reigning European Talent Cup champion gave us a shock and a half in the first race earlier this morning, crashing out as he looked set for a comfortable podium. Whether that was to be P1, P2 or P3, we didn't know, because they were reeling in Bujosa, who at the time had about a 4-second advantage, but they had reeled it back to about 2 seconds with enough laps remaining. But Cano then fell victim to the conditions and sent himself tumbling through the gravel trap.
Well, I think that the key thing there, Chris, was that it came in a moment where he was really pushing, he was trying to catch up, and maybe a more mature rider would have just let it be, finished the race and come away with the points, whether it was 16 or 20, because those points are going to be very important come the end of the season. Cano knows this. I mean, he is the reigning champion. He wears the #1 plate. There's a reason why. But maybe he just lacks that little bit of maturity that you need to really finish a race and make sure that you do so in the best way possible. This time around, well, someone's going to have had, I think, stern words in that 72-hour box.
As they say, it was a thin line between bravery and stupidity, and hindsight is a wonderful thing to decide which is which. If he had caught Bujosa out front, we'd be here waxing lyrical and saying he is the next coming of Marc Marquez.
Almost certainly. I mean,
most certainly. However,
rider comparisons galore.
It didn't. Unfortunately, it didn't go well for Cano, but he'll be out for vengeance in race 2. It'll be interesting, though. It is a good point you say that a bit of racecraft and a bit of maturity will come into play. If he is off the lead this time around, will he just settle in for the points to start getting those points on the board for his championship charge in 2025?
I would genuinely be quite reticent to say that he would, but simply because he clearly has that kind of drive, that desire in his blood to make sure that he wins. I mean, he's a fierce competitor, is Carlos Cano. I mean, he's been here all weekend. I'm not sure I've seen him smile once, because he's just that focused. He's just such a talented rider. He knows he is, and he wants to achieve the very best for himself and, of course, for the 72 Outbox team and Emilio Alzamora.
Yeah, I haven't seen you smile too much this weekend either with the weather around, but nonetheless, we carry on. So we saw Travis Borg. He lines up second. He was just so close to being on the podium, just high-siding at that final corner, finishing 5th in the end. And Fernando Bujosa, just on screen there, the talented AC Racing Team rider, finally making his breakthrough and getting onto the top step in race 1, starting from the outside of the front row. Will we see him make a charge again? It was that start that really set him off. His pace was unbelievable, but the start from the line was sensational, getting ahead of Cano by the opening corner. Alex Longarella, starting 4th, debuted on the podium. Superb ride from him. Battled with Cano for the majority of that race before Cano's crash, and then cruised home into 2nd. If his charge had come a little bit earlier in race 1, perhaps we'd be talking about him as a ETC race winner. But in the end, it just fell a little bit short towards the end. I think he showed that maturity we were speaking about, of just realizing, okay, this isn't on. That lead is too much to build, and the laps, there's too little time left, not enough laps left. So I'm going to settle in and take that podium.
Yeah, I think you might be right there, Chris. He was setting a series of fast laps. I mean, there's a reason why he finished in P2. He was absolutely sensational as well. But yeah, maybe it came just a bit too little too late, or maybe it was that maturity that is necessary in certain conditions, well, in all conditions, let's be honest, but especially when it's a wet race.
Yeah. Indonesia's Kianja Ramadipa then on the podium in race 1, profiting from that mistake from Travis Borg late on. Indeed, I didn't actually catch it the first time around, but in on that last corner, Travis Borg, we saw high-sided but held on, went into the gravel. Ramadipa also high-sided, not quite as severely, but he managed to get control of his machine that little bit quicker, which proved pivotal as he then went home to a first ever podium in the ETC.
Well, I do think if you're racing quite often in the ATC, depending on the time of year, you're going to have some very tricky conditions in certain parts of the world. I mean, think about what it can be like in Malaysia sometimes, or Thailand. When you're watching MotoGP in those places, for example, I mean, there's a huge amount of rain sometimes.
For sure.
Very much at the mercy of the conditions.
Yeah, those flyaways on the MotoGP calendar, often in Malaysia, Thailand, Japan, we always have the ATC races as well, which we keenly watch and are avid fans of. And because there's such great talents coming through the Asian Talent Cup these days, you look at Veda Pratama, Zen Mitani, Hakam Danish in the JuniorGP race there, very impressive results. So the pedigree is beginning to show, and they all have to deal with mixed conditions, the extreme heat, thunderstorms. I mean, a day like today, and I'm getting on the weather, Connor. Sunshine is entering into the commentary box. Nobody saw this. You can see the grey clouds over the head of some of the riders there in the background. That's Yaroslav Karpushin. You can see it's still windy and there's some grey clouds there, but on our right-hand side, it's looking promising, Connor. But you know what? I've given one or two commentators curses in my time. I don't want to give another. So I'm going to touch wood and say nothing more about the weather for the next 15 laps of racing.
I can confirm to everyone listening that he did indeed touch wood. And I think that's very much for the best. But it's better if you're going to be giving a commentator's curse that it's about the weather as opposed to about a rider, as I am guilty of.
I did touch wood. I'm not superstitious. I'm a little stitious, as the joke goes. Oh, my word. Thankfully, the riders on track don't need to listen to us, and they're all set and zoned in for another 15 laps of ETC racing. I'm looking forward to this one. Carlos Cano starting from pole position. He'll be out with a point to prove. Last year's champion. So, not long to go until we see the lights out. And Connor, you can take us through the grid, please.
Happy to do so, Chris. Once we get it on our screens, right here it is. Carlos Cano from pole. He's on the front row alongside Morgan Posa. The race 1 win on row 2, Longarella, Ramadipa and Marulanda. On row 3, Lucas Karpushin and Gabarini. Behind them, Tines, Perez and Gutierrez. On row 5, Kratochwil, Da Costa and Tamburini. On row 6, Miroslavov, Borelli and Barbagallo. On row 7, Dakigan, Nadivi and Sunfan. On row 8, Rodriguez, Enriquez and Frelsen. And on row 9, Vaya, Rostagni and Van Krugten. And at the back on row 10, Boxberger, Almeida and Sanchez.
Away we go then on our sighting lap. So, 15 laps of European Talent Cup fun awaiting us. Fernando Bojosa, the race 1 winner, the number 69 adorning the front of his motorcycle, starts from the outside of the front row. His start proved pivotal in race 1, getting into the whole shot ahead of the pole sitter Carlos Cano. Cano, your reigning European Talent Cup champion, crashing out of the podium places in this morning's action. He will be keen to remedy the wrongs of the morning, but most importantly needs to pick up some points so his championship charge gets underway with some intent. Then we have Travis Borg in the middle of the front row. He too maybe has some revenge on his mind. A late high side at the final corner, costing him his first ever European Talent Cup podium, with Ramadipa profiting. Ramadipa starting from 5th on the grid. Mateo Marulanda on the outside of the second row. The Colombian retired from the opening race of the day. He too will just be in the hunt for some points.
Yeah, Alvaro Lucas as well is one to watch out for. He ended up finishing in P4. What a fantastic ride it was. I mean, he started on that third row and really went under the radar to get up into that leading group.
Yeah, our attentions were most certainly focused on that battle. For, well, Bojosa had scampered off into the lead, but the battle for the podium, there were 2 different podium battles going on, so that grabbed most of our attentions. But yeah, Alvaro Lucas, very strong debut from the 14-year-old in 4th place. Travis Borg in 5th place. Edu Gutierrez, Ethan Rodriguez picking up 6 and 7. Cratoquil, Borelli, Tambrini, Quinez all inside the top 11. But now let's focus on race 2. Carlos Cano rolling up the front straight to take his spot on the grid, the head of the grid in P1. The young Spaniard, vengeance on his mind, but just simply has to pick up points in this race.
Yeah, I think that's going to be absolutely key to it. Points are important. Just get off the mark, Carlos, and then think about it later.
So, can Bujosa repeat the trick and find some more perfection in Portimao? We are ready to go in the race 2 of the European Talent Cup, and Cano has gotten a stronger start. It looked like he might have gone a little bit early, but I'm not sure about that. Bujosa slips into 2nd this time around, but is he going to try and move up the inside?
Oh, he is!
Oh, he's gone back up, and it's a repeat of race 1. It's Bujosa over Cano, over Alex Longarella in 3rd position. Kianja Ramadipa has moved up into 4th, with Travis Borg, just like race 1, dropping into 5th position by the first corner. But Cano retakes the lead, but Bujosa has a move up the inside of turn 3.
Yeah, absolutely incredible start here. This is such an incredible battle between these two in these opening exchanges. I think it's exactly what we thought we were going to see, because Cano's been told to try and maintain that space, of course. But Bujosa has just been told, do what you did last time. And he's gone out and he's tried to do it, but Cano is now currently leading the race.
So it is your European Talent Cup champion who leads the race coming into turn 6. But look at Alex Longarella. Where's he coming from? That's a deep lunge. He takes Kiandra Ramadipa for 3rd, but Ramadipa cuts him back on the inside, and it's as you were. It's Cano over Bujosa. Elbows out at the beginning of race 2 at the European Talent Cup. And, well, by this time in race 1, they had cleared off somewhat, but this group is even bigger than it was last time. It looks like everyone was cleanly away. So, Cano over Bujosa coming through the left to right chicane. Ramadipa up into 3rd. 45 is Longarella. Alvaro Lucas is in 6th, and Gonzalo Perez is riding here with the podium hopefuls. Brilliant stuff from the number 12. He's riding in 4th position right now, and he's hanging it on the outside.
Oh, what a move.
Brilliant stuff. He's hanging around the outside of Parabolica. Ayrton Senna, if he makes that stick, that is one for the Instagram.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure the social media team are going to be watching that and clipping it straight away. This is absolutely incredible. For the time being, it is Cano who leads, but I don't think he's going to be escaping Fernando Bujosa anytime soon.
Yeah, Bujosa showed in race 1. Oh, it's Perez who's down. He's taken Ramadipa with him. He's clipped the rear wheel. That is, so unfortunate for Kiandra Ramadipa and for Perez. That is so frustrating. In fact, it's not Perez. It's Travis Borg has gone down, the podium rivals in race 1. Oh, dearie me. Hopefully they're all okay. They look rather shaken, but yeah, Ramadipa, just an innocent bystander there. He won't know what happened because his rear wheel was clipped. Frustration here after such a promising race 1 for Travis Borg. He is down on lap 2 here, the number 92 in the European Talent Cup race 2.
Yeah, that's
Estoril.
So unfortunate there for these two. They've been absolutely fantastic in race 1, and they looked on course to do so again.
You just see now here, loses the front. Oh, it's a helmet, is it, that clips the rear?
It looked like it.
Well, thankfully, they look rather shaken, but thankfully they're walking away, look okay. Ramadipa is fine, Borg looks okay. Shaken, a little bit stirred, but
I think that's right.
okay. Relatively
he wouldn't
okay.
say he's okay. He's going to be fuming.
Furious, but they can get over that with time. But look, for Borg, it's been an impressive opening round. Very disappointing end to what's been a hugely impressive opening round that should have ended on the podium. Just missed out, but a front row start, top 5 finish, just your 2nd race European Talent Cup. It's a solid start for the MLAV rider. Now, back out front, we have Carlos Cano leading the way. He's got a 3-10 advantage coming over the line over race 1 winner Fernando Bujosa. We have 3 riders battling for the final podium position. Colombian Mateo Marulanda currently was leading over the line, but now that has slipped to Gonzalo Perez, with Alvaro Lucas also involved in this one for the top 3. It's Lucas going to have a little look up the inside, and Marulanda hangs it on the outside. Lucas gets that one done, the Aspire Junior team rider, but it is Perez who holds the advantage in the battle for the top 3.
Yeah, I think we're on for another incredible battle for the top 3 here. But these two at the front, Cano is the faster of the 2 riders, but by such a slight margin. I don't even think there's a tenth of a second in it between these two at the beginning of this race. There are still plenty of laps for us to enjoy, though.
Yeah, long way to go on this one. Expect plenty more drama to come. As Christian Borelli, the latest rider to stop on our timing screens, he looks out of the race. So, eyes on the battle for, not 3rd, but the battle for 6th. Matteo Gabarini, Jaroslav Karpushin and Alex Longarella. Longarella now further down in 8th position when he was in the podium battle in race 1.
Yeah,
there he is, the number 45. Well, so he's pushing his way through here. He's going to want to get into the head of this group as soon as possible, you'd imagine. Down the front straight, he'll try and make a move on Matteo Gabarini, and then try and at least reel in the podium fighters ahead. But Gabarini not giving much ground there, but he runs it a little bit wide, so he does. So slipstream, here we go. What impact is this going to make? Will Longarella get the drive going into turn 1? He certainly does. Oh, he certainly does. He's now at the head of this battle for 6th position. Cano still ahead of Bujosa. Lucas and Perez exchanging positions there. Perez, though, still leading in 3rd position in the battle for 3rd. While you can see at the back, it's Longarella, the number 45, has moved into 6th position. Now, he will try and show the pace he did in race 1 to reel in the rider ahead of them. What is the gap between them? It's about 2 seconds.
2 seconds for the time being. I think we need to underline just how important the final and first corners have been in the ETC so far. I mean, turn 13 claiming Borg's podium in the way it did, and then turn 1 has been, well, that straight really has been absolutely crucial to establishing leads.
Bujosa, here he comes for the lead. And away he goes. He makes that one stick. Sorry to cut you off, Connor. But yeah, Bujosa making what could be a pivotal movement for the lead is Carlos Cano. Look at that from Carlos Cano. He was out onto the blue off circuit and hangs it on the outside to bring himself into the lead. Bujosa got his nose in front. Oh, they are elbows out here. Both of them want to lead. And if Bujosa can make another move here, and if they keep chopping and changing, this just might bring in the chasing trio in that battle for 3rd place into the battle for the lead. But it is Cano. He does not want to be behind here. We said, would he settle for 20 points if they were on offer? I think we have a definitive answer, Connor.
I think we do. I don't think he's the kind of rider that would ever settle. I mean, he's shown that kind of disposition throughout his career so far, but with this on the straight, is he going to be able to make a move? Bujosa with the slipstream. It's currently side by side. He is making it.
That is brilliant on the outside. Cano does have the inside line though, and it's Bujosa. It's elbows out. It's elbows out in the European Talent Cup. Race 2 in Estoril. Bujosa leads the race 1 winner, but the European Talent Cup champion Carlos Cano is not lying down without a fight. The number 1 strikes back.
Yeah, absolutely. He strikes back exactly when you say that he's going to be falling behind. They're absolutely incredible from these two as they trade blows. It's currently Cano, but for how long? I mean, we've still got so many laps to enjoy here, but these two are, there's nothing in it between these two at this point in time.
Yeah, nothing in it. Bujosa's going to make another move here up the inside at turn 6. He's not close enough though. Well, if this carries on, what have we got? 10.5 laps to go. I don't think we're going to have the breath to continue.
I don't think so, but that's absolutely
Here we go again. Here we go again. Bujosa makes a move, and Cano has a wobble. Cano has a wobble. Will that now just shake a little bit of? Will he now shake his confidence? Will that shake his confidence? I want to say the number 1 has a wobble, concedes the 1st place. Will he now fight back or just try and settle in and establish a rhythm? The two of them are still much faster than the riders coming in behind. Both of them in the 147s last time around. 148s then for the trio in the podium position, in the podium battle for P3, and the 147s led by Alex Longarella. So Alex Longarella is eating up the ground on the riders ahead. But all eyes on the front straight, all eyes on the 69 and number 1. Cano drives it up the inside down the front straight, leads over the line. Brilliant stuff from the reigning champion. Look at the gaggle of riders forming behind as well. These two though have scampered off into the distance and there won't be any catching them.
No, I can't imagine there will be, but they're both showing just how incredible they are as young, precocious talents, both taking full advantage of that slipstream when it becomes an option available to them. It's another weapon in their arsenal, and both of them are going out all guns blazing.
Yeah, so this battle for P3 was a three-way battle. Now, what is it? 2, 4, 6, 7 riders by my count. I'm no mathematician, but I think it's 7.
I think you know how to count.
Yeah, so it's led by Gonzalo Perez at the moment, Matteo Marolanda over Alvaro Lucas. Alex Longarella then, we said it, he got his nose in front in that battle for 6th, and he has led the rest of the riders into it as we have a change now. But once again for the lead, side by side they go. It's Bujosa who leads. I tell you what, Connor, if they keep chopping and changing like this, there's what, a 3-second, 4-second advantage between these two and the chasing pack. If they keep chopping and changing, I know they're quicker, but you imagine that at one point it's going to force one of them wide or the two of them wide, and it just could bring in the other riders with 10 laps to go, 9.5 laps to go.
I mean, there's a big difference there, but it plays into the hands of the riders behind. That's very much true. For the time being, I'm not sure, because we saw Cano doing very well defensively when he was behind. Once he turned it on, once he decided to become more aggressive, once he tried to make up the ground is when his mistake came. So this time around, well, it's interesting to see, because here he's just taking full advantage of that slipstream once again. Now he is ahead, but for how long? That's the question that we're going to be asking throughout the entire course of this race, I'm absolutely sure. Bujosa might try and make a move here again. It's not quite close enough. It's still Cano for the time being.
Yeah, I say with all the chopping and changing, and of course I'm discounting all the chopping and changing that's going to happen in this 7-strong group. Gonzalo Perez then still at the lead, but look at Alex Longarella, his charge. He was the fastest rider on circuit last time around. This time the fastest rider is a 1:47.082 from the Venezuelan, just on time, Gerda Martinez. Brilliant stuff. He is down in 8th position. But at the front of this one, it's Gonzalo Perez against Alex Longarella. At the front is Carlos Cano against Fernando Bujosa. So, a battle for the win and a battle for P3.
This is what we're here for.
Absolutely, Connor. Here we go. We're going to get a lot of chopping changing into turn 6, are we? Longarella now leads over the 46 of Alvaro Lucas. Gonzalo Perez forced a little bit wide there. So now it's Longarella who leads this one. So he got to the head of that battle for 6th. Brought all those riders into the battle for P3, and now he's at the head of the battle for P3. His pace is pretty impressive. 1:47.433 last time round. He's going at the same pace as the riders ahead of him, who are the fastest on circuit, I believe, or were the fastest on circuit last time. So, will Alex Longarella be able to reel in the two guys ahead of him? Will he bring any of the riders behind? Well, he needs to get himself back in front.
Yeah, I mean, that's the real issue, but this is such a fantastic battle for third here. This is what the ETC is all about. There's so much talent on display, and these 7 riders are just doing so well, competing with each other. It is chopping and changing all the time now. Who's going to be able to get the most out of this slipstream here?
Yeah, it's the Colombian Matteo Marolanda then who leads over the line in the battle for P3. Carlos Cano and Bujosa, you could throw a blanket over them, as you could for the gaggle of riders coming into turn 1 right now. So, who's going to lead? It's Longarella, who's back into P3. Well spotted, Connor. Matteo Marolanda led over the line, but as you can see now has slipped the number 27 into 7th position. Wow.
Oh, this is just changing all the time. I was just about to say that for Longarella, we saw the faster laps as the race went on, and now that he'd got ahead of that group, maybe if he was able to break away a bit, he'd be able to start cheering up a bit more of that asphalt, but it's not going to happen. But someone has been forced wide now, and Longarella's taking full advantage of that. But we are back with the front, and we are back with Cano ahead. For how long? Well, for almost no time whatsoever. As soon as that camera switches, oh, it changes at the right time, doesn't it? And we've got Bujosa ahead again.
Prescient camera work and TV direction. But it's Cano going to fire a little move up the inside? Not quite now. So Fernando Bujosa once again leading in this race in a duel for the lead between these two riders. 6.5 seconds separate them from the chasing pack below, which is led currently by Alex Longarella. Yaroslav Karpushin very much in contention there as well, which would be a phenomenal result for the young rider of Frando Racing VHC team. But Bujosa leading Cano once again. It's like you were in race 1, except a little bit of a closer gap. Bujosa cleared off into the distance in race 1. Cano was second, but by a distance. Cano now has pulled out into the lead, so that is crucial. You should take note of this. Coming out of the final corner, it was Bujosa who led, but Cano, on a number of occasions now, has led over the line. So into turn 1, it's Bujosa again, but Cano will surely, and Bujosa will surely be taking note of that as they go side by side, swapping paint here in Estoril. Brilliant stuff from the lead 2 here in race 2 European Talent Cup action.
Oh, what about that? What about that from the Mallorcan rider, Fernando Bujosa? Absolutely incredible there. I think exactly what you said was very, very accurate and very, very important about that last corner, number 13. And we've seen it again as well at turn 1. I mean, these are key moments in these races.
Yeah, absolutely. So these two, no holds barred racing. This is what we love to see. It's hard, but it's clean and it's fair. So Bujosa leading over Cano. Gonzalo Perez gotten themselves to the head of the chasing group for the final podium place. Alex Longarella debuted on the ETC podium in race 1. He's had a taste of success. He's hungry for more. So he is certainly chasing down here now, and it is Perez who's leading over Longarella. Then we've the number 46 of Alvaro Lucas. 27 is Mateo Marolanda from Colombia. Then the number 70, Yaroslav Karpushin, Finn Kratochwil, Kermantinez, all part of this fight as well. As is Izan Rodriguez, Matteo Gabarini. So the top 11 all in a fight for the final podium place.
It's absolutely incredible. I mean, those two that you just mentioned really bringing themselves back into it as well. Here we are crossing the line. Very interesting to see that they're taking different routes here now to go into turn 1. And it is still Bujosa who leads into that first corner. But he's still being followed so closely by Carlos Cano, who's right on that rear wheel.
Yeah, Alex Longarella running it wide there, as is one of the riders in behind. I didn't quite catch who it was. But yeah, the gap between the front two now and the rest of the chasing pack, 7.279 seconds. Pretty unassailable with 5.5 laps to go. All eyes on the battle for P3. It's anybody's guess. So it's Alvaro Lucas has been doing a lot of leading of this group, as has Alex Longarella and Gonzalo Perez. But then you have the likes of Yaroslav Karpushin, the Kyrgyzstani rider, who'd be looking to make some history in the JuniorGP category. Mateo Marolanda, the Colombian, also looking for a first podium here, as is many of the riders in the chasing pack. So odds are a little bit of history might be made here in this battle for P3.
History's always made in the European Talent Cup, Chris. I think that much is clear. And it would be absolutely fantastic to see a rider from Kyrgyzstan on the podium. Yaroslav Karpushin, I mean, it's again, just to highlight the internationality of this class is incredible. I think it's one of the most attractive aspects of racing at this level. I mean, what is it? Is it 20 nationalities we've got? Or
I believe
18?
it was 18. Let me double check my notes now.
Yeah,
you've caught me out there, Connor. I wasn't expecting to be quizzed.
Sorry. I mean, the capital of Kyrgyzstan?
18 nationalities. 18. Oh, the capital of Kyrgyzstan. I'll leave that one up to you.
Anyone that's on any of our social media, just write it down for us.
Make sure you say hello if you are watching from Kyrgyzstan and cheering on Yaroslav Karpushin. As well, if you're from Spain, get in touch, because Carlos Cano and Fernando Bujosa are going wheel to wheel and blow for blow here. Look at this, though, for the battle for P3, and Alvaro Lucas has been forced wide there. He's been doing much of the front running in this battle, and the 46 now has been dropped towards the back. The number 12 of Gonzalo Perez profits, and he moves into P3. Alex Longarella, the 45, keep an eye on him. Already a podium finisher today. Finn Kratochwil, the number 20, running in 4th place. So, all to play for in the battle for P3. All to play for in the fight for victory. Although, I think maybe this is probably the biggest gap we've seen between these two, Bujosa and Cano, in quite some time. 0.2 of a second. It's nothing in ETC, but it's the biggest gap we've seen this race between the duo.
No, because there's been nothing but centimetres between these two for the entirety of this race. If that gap does extend, if Carlos Cano is able to make a bit of a difference there, then, well, I'd be concerned if I was Bujosa, but he could still hold on for a perfectly incredible P2 after what has been an incredible ride. He is also the fastest through Sector 2 and Sector 3, so I'm not sure if that gap between the two leaders is going to be increasing.
Look at that from Gonzalo Perez.
Yeah.
What a line that was to take. From the right to left, uphill, right to left-hander. That is brilliant from Perez. And now he's opened up a little bit of a gap. Look at that. I'd nearly stand up and applaud, Connor. I'm very impressed by that line he's taken, and it's given himself a little bit of an advantage over the chasing pack. Perez, a talented rider. Let's see if he's on the podium. And we're just going to keep an eye on the timing screens here, and it's out to 8.4 seconds as Bujosa back in lead, but for how long? Bujosa sets the fastest lap of the race, but what good is it when you're only in P2? Carlos Cano still holding on to the lead.
Yeah, but by the narrowest of margins. I mean, we've said it several times, that final straight could prove so important come the end of this race, but what's going to be even more important is being concentrated and entirely focused here, because any mistake is going to prove so costly when the margins are this narrow. And you can see the AC Racing team watching on there and thinking this is just one of the spectacles of the year, and it's only race 2 here in the European Talent Cup.
Absolutely, and it's been edge of the seat stuff all day today in both races. ETC race 1 had us on the edge of the seat, as does this one. A very different type of race as Bujosa once again makes a lunge for the lead coming through turn 7, and he makes that one stick. Carlos Cano once again now playing the role of hunter. So Bujosa victorious in race 1. Carlos Cano was running in second place in race 1 but crashed out. We mentioned before the race, will Cano have the appetite for victory, or will he have the appetite just to get some points on the board? That answer has been resounding from the reigning champion. He wants victory, and he will not give up the victory without a fight, as here he comes again. Once again, out of the final corner, it's Bujosa, but over the line, it's Cano.
That is
3 laps to go. This is proving pivotal. So these two are in a world of their own. Bujosa has led going out of corner 1 on the last couple of occasions, but not this time. So Cano holds the advantage. What about the battle for third position? It's Perez. Longarella just missing out as Cratocoil sits in 4th position. So Gonzalo Perez at the head here and looking comfortable, has to be said, Connor.
Yeah, after that fantastic move through the S's there that he made earlier, he's been able to display that he's just a fraction better maybe than the riders just behind him, and he has opened up a little bit of a gap.
Well, if ever there was time for a commentator's curse.
Yep.
Here we go then, Cano leading here, but Bujosa once again tries to move up the inside of turn 6. Will Cano look for the cutback? He will not. He's happy to sit in here. So the way well, what do I know? He's going to go side by side with Bujosa, but Bujosa does hold the advantage. The way I see it playing out here is Cano is going to once again practice that move coming out of the final corner.
The thing is though, Chris, that's the move that's in the arsenal of both of these riders. And we've seen Bujosa make that move earlier, maybe in the first couple of laps. It's something that he's able to do as well. I mean, both of these riders could do it at that turn 13 going into the slipstream straight there.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a case of will either of these guys want to lead coming out of the final corner. We've seen it on a number of occasions. The rider through Parabolica, Ayrton Senna, has not been the rider leading, and we're about to see it one more time here. Carlos Cano leads over the line. It's a carbon copy of what's been happening over the last number of laps. So the question is, who wants to be in second place?
I mean, it's
coming out of the final corner?
It's a risky time to be doing it, isn't it? I mean, this is racecraft at its best. You need to be so clever, so intelligent to know what to do there. I mean, both of these riders are taking their mental notes. They're seeing what's happening. They know exactly what's going on here. But to actually do it of your own volition, wow, it's going to be so tough.
Yeah, Alfonso Almeida, you can see, has crashed, as have a number of other riders. Jürgen Krugton, David da Costa, Julius Frelsen, all going down, and it looks like they may have gone down together. So we'll Let's bring you an update there. Looks like all the riders are okay, thankfully. Walking away from us, maybe a little bit peeved. We'll see in which direction the evil eyes, the darts, are being thrown. But all 3 riders gone down there. Let's see what happened. You can see a gaggle of riders here and on the inside, and it's total wipeout.
Yeah.
Oh my word. Those are some heavy crashes, some frustrations there from Alfonso Almeida. Yeah, huge disappointment for those riders. Okay then.
Bohosa back in the lead.
Back at the front. Bohosa leads. Let's have a look. What's going to happen coming out of the final corner? Round we go. Final left-hander of the circuit. Penultimate time, we come around. Parabolica Ayrton Senna. It looks like this time Cano might not be close enough.
I wouldn't count him out at all.
No, here we go. He's going to make an attack. It looks like Bohosa is going to hold on to the lead here. And Cano is just going to attach himself to the rear wheel. Is Cano going to make an attack on this last lap? As we get underway, the European Talent Cup Race 2 in Estoril, it's Bohosa who leads going into turn 1.
This is absolutely incredible stuff. I mean, this is last lap action. We've had it from the very beginning here. But Bohosa and Carlos Cano going toe-to-toe, wheel-to-wheel for the win here in Estoril in Race 2. Cano, of course, failing to register any points so far. Is that going to change?
So the battle for third position still very much alive. It's Gonzalo Perez over Alex Longarella. But at the front, Fernando Bohosa won his maiden European Talent Cup race this morning. He's looking to do it again, going back-to-back in Estoril. But Carlos Cano, the reigning champion, will have plenty to say about that. The Airbox team watching on, Emilio Alzamora watching on. They could hardly keep their eyes open. It's Bohosa coming round turn 6. Cano, I think, Connor, we're all waiting until the final corner. We've seen Cano do this move time and time and time and time again this race.
Yeah, I mean, he's done it to perfection so many times, but now is crunch time. He's got to make it work this time, or he's going to find himself having to look up to someone else on that podium, something that Carlos Cano is never one to want to do.
Through the corkscrew we go. Cano loses it a little bit. Only 3 corners to go. The final left-hander in Estoril. Nothing between them. Cano is attached to his rear wheel. The long sweeping right-hander onto the front straight. Bohosa holds the advantage. Cano is in the slipstream. Here we go then. We've seen it. Cano is making his move. Bohosa's gone wide. Cano's got it covered. Carlos Cano. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant racecraft from the reigning European Talent Cup champion. He takes the winner. We predicted it. We saw it coming a mile away. But to execute it is a different story. Carlos Cano takes the win. Fernando Bohosa back on the podium. He will leave Estoril as the championship leader. Gonzalo Perez, the number 12, takes P3, coming out of that battle for his first European Talent Cup podium. But Connor, what about Carlos Cano?
Absolutely incredible from Carlos Cano. He's exactly what he needed to do, and he did it at exactly the right moment. You can see what it means to him with that wheelie there. We saw what it meant to him at the end of this race after failing to register points in race 1. Well, what about that? But both of these 2 young Spanish riders deserve all the plaudits they get. What a display they put on for everyone watching here in Estoril today. Absolutely sensational, and what a wheelie to go with it.
Yeah, brilliant stuff from the young Spaniard, the reigning champion, back in the class, looking to defend his crown. Takes a huge victory. It could have been easy to settle for the 20 points, get the points on the board. But we said it earlier, hindsight is a brilliant thing, and it turns out his bravery has been rewarded. Fernando Bohosa, what a day he has had. He has taken his maiden European Talent Cup victory, and he has backed it up with a P2 in race 2, while Gonzalo Perez takes some crucial points, but more importantly, takes his first ever podium in the European Talent Cup. Brilliant stuff for the 16-year-old Spaniard from Andalusia. So the European Talent Cup delivers the drama once again. decided at the final corner. Carlos Cano will reel into pit lane. We'll hear from him very shortly, with Connor working his way down there now. And as we see, a rider has crashed at the final corner as well. So we see the doctor sign out there. Hopefully he is okay. I think it is Mikey Lou Sanchez from the American racing team. He was the last rider to not take the checkered flag, and there were yellow flags out. So sending our best wishes to Mikey Lou Sanchez. Hopefully he is okay, if it is indeed Sanchez. But race 2 belongs to Carlos Cano. The European Talent Cup reigning champion shows his class in a sensational event here in Estoril. Fernando Bujosa, P2, his third podium in the ETC. All of them coming at Estoril, the first in Estoril last season, victory this morning, and now at P2. Means he is the championship leader, leaving round 1. Well, Gonzalo Perez has plenty to celebrate with his P3. Just outside the podium places is Alex Longarella. Alex Longarella picked up his first podium in the class this morning, P4 to back it up. But let's have a little listen in to the celebrations down in Parc Ferme. So best ever performance for Gonzalo Perez. Incidentally, his previous best was a P5, which came here in 2022 in Estoril. So a circuit that certainly seems to get the best out of the young Spaniard. Smiles all around down in the UAX 72 Art Box garage and team. Let's take a little look at some of the most memorable moments then, as Carlos Cano took victory in race 2. So the number 1 versus the number 69. Bujosa making a move up the inside to take the lead. That was the story. But here we see Cano taking the win out of the final corner. We saw him practicing that move on multiple occasions throughout the race as Bujosa led. Coming out of turn 13, Cano just stuck to his rear wheel, pulled out and led over the line. And that strategy has reaped reward for the European Talent Cup champion. It's his first win of the season, first points on the board as well. 25 on the board for Cano, 45 on the board for Fernando Bujosa. But let's listen and hear what Carlos Cano has to say. He's down in Parc Ferme with Conor Doherty.
Carlos, what a win. The first race didn't go the way you would have wanted, but the second was an absolutely incredible spectacle. What a battle at the front. How does it feel to get the first point?
Yes, in the first race I have a one mistake in the corner 12, but in the second race I have a very good feeling with the bike, and I am very happy because this precision I work very hard with my team, my trainers, and well, I am very happy. I thank people who support me, my family, my team, also my trainer. Thank you.
And in Spanish, please.
Estoy muy contento de haber ganado esta carrera. En la primera carrera sí que es verdad que he tenido un pequeño error cuando las condiciones de la pista eran muy difíciles en la curva 12, pero bueno, he aprendido de los errores y estoy muy contento de esta victoria en esta nueva temporada. Y la verdad que ha sido un trabajo muy duro que he hecho todo este invierno con mi equipo, mis entrenadores. La verdad que estoy muy contento de esta victoria. Se lo quiero hacer a todo mi equipo, también a mi madre, que es el Día de la Madre, la quiero mucho, y a toda mi familia. Gracias.
Congratulations.
So Carlos Cano started from pole in race 2 in Estoril, but he had to contend with the challenge of Fernando Bojosa from the very off. Cano and Bojosa proved a class above in Estoril, and they cleared off into the distance, though it was elbows out racing the entire race, neither giving the other an inch. A crash then for Travis Borg took out Kiandra Ramadipa while they were fighting for the podium places. Borg, P5 earlier in the day, Ramadipa podium finisher. That meant Gonzalo Perez, Alvaro Lucas, Alex Longarella had to fight it out for the final podium place as Bojosa and Cano continued to trade blows out front. Cano was second coming out of the final corner, but would lead over the line on a number of occasions, something of a strategy which would prove pivotal by the race end. While the battle for P3 raged on between 7 riders. Gonzalo Perez did a lot of leading, as did Alex Longarella. Back out front, Bojosa once again reclaimed the lead, while Gonzalo Perez made a move at the chicane for third position, a position he did not relinquish for the rest of the race. Out front, Cano was back out in front of Bojosa. The duo kept scrapping it out for field position and to lead the race. Bojosa then fighting back before a big crash wiped out 4 riders late on. Well then, at the final corner, Carlos Cano in second position used the final corner and run to the line to his advantage to take his first victory of the season. Fernando Bojosa settled for second, Gonzalo Perez in third.
Representante da equipa vencedora, Guilherme Alonso. Terceiro classificado,
An all-Spanish podium
Gonzalo
then.
Perez.
The Iberian Peninsula continues to prove a breeding ground for top talent.
E o vencedor, Carlos Cano.
Bojosa returning to the podium for the second time today. Gonzalo Perez on the podium for the first time in his European Talent Cup career. Carlos Cano back on the top step.
Jean-Marc Deneau para entregar os troféus. Começa pelo representante da equipa, Guilherme
Mr. Jean-Marc
Alonso.
Deneau handing out the prizes then for the podium finishers.
Ao segundo,
Second place trophy going the way of Fernando Bojosa. What a successful day it has been for the AC Racing Team rider.
Carlos Cano.
Carlos Cano bouncing back from his morning disappointment to take his first win of the 2025 European Talent Cup Championship.
Vamos agora ao hino de Espanha. Temos agora a cerimónia da gasosa.
Off goes the fizzy water then for the celebrations on the podium. Great stuff from all 3 riders. A victory fight for the ages between Cano and Bojosa, and Gonzalo Perez not used to the podium. And the podium photo. Gonzalo Perez enjoying his first podium finish.
Segunda corrida da European Talent.
So your race results from race 2. In Estoril sees Carlos Cano on top ahead of Bojosa and Perez. Alex Longarella just missing out on the podium, as does Alvaro Lucas, Finn Kratochwil, Jaroslav Karpushin, Matteo Marolanda, Matteo Gabrini were all part of that podium fight, but fell off just a little bit towards the end, but still pick up top 9 finishes and good points in the bank. Kieran Martinez, Izan Rodriguez also finishing within the points. Alfonso Daquigan, Edu Gutierrez, Nikola Miroslavov, and Remy George San Juan. Complete your point scorers from Estoril. Enriquez Tamburini just finishing outside, as do Jonathan Barbagallo, Anton Nativi, Evan Boxberger, Keanu Weyer. Disappointment though, Julius Frelsen, Jurien van Krugten, Afonso Almeida all involved in that late crash. Mikey Lou Sanchez crashing right at the end as well. David da Costa, the other rider in that multi-rider pileup. Matthias Rostani also seeing a DNF. Ramadipa, Borg colliding with one another, and Christian Borelli, another rider to fail to see the checkered flag. So leaving Estoril and on to Jerez we go. This is what the championship standings will look like. Bujosa is your early championship leader with 45 points. A P1 and P2. Alex Longarella, solid points for him. He picks up 33 in Estoril. 25 points in race 2 sees Carlos Cano in 3rd ahead of Alvaro Lucas. Gonzalo Perez up to 5th. Grato Quill leaves here in 6th position. Ramadipa 7th. Izan Rodriguez 8th. Enriquez 9th, Karpushin inside the top 10. Then it's Borg, Tinez, Marulanda, Gabarini, Tamburini, Borelli, Daquigan. While Jurien van Krugten, Nikola Miroslavov, Evan Boxberger and Remy George San Juan were the rest of your point scorers in Estoril and round out the current championship standings. It didn't come easy for Carlos Cano, but he bounced back in style. The young Spaniard takes victory in race 2 ahead of race 1 winner Fernando Bujosa. Estoril provided all the drama we could have hoped for. Let's hope for more the same in Jerez next time out.